my third video. So basically, while we reach this point, we've got the API data. Again, you called this processes. I've actually put it in a library called data. So I've changed some of these functions so that if you look here, they will actually use our little database connection query method. And the reason I've done that is if there's a problem with the query or the database, what will happen here is this will just bomb out, hit the router, and the router will send a 500 whatever code it is that we've got back with the error message back from the database. So basically it's just a way of managing that. I need to change some of your other ones, but basically these selects are all effectively the same. All I'm doing is yeah, basically the same as what you did. So so the idea with the router is now we've got the function which has come from the first parameter in the URL, and we've got our data structures. So we've got the request, we've got the user authentication data structure, which we can put other bits in it, but it's got the user ID in. We've got the API data structure, and we've got the database connection. I don't know if we need that, but it's in there. And all this is doing a callback on the function. So it's basically calling the function that was passed in as a parameter on the URL. Again, I've put it in an exception block because if we're going to be doing queuing or something at this level in these functions, and say the database goes down, we're going to need to manage that, and we're going to get a response code sent back up, so out to the client that's called this. So you'll see here that there is a final response, which is basically send response with a 200 and the response that comes back from this. So I've had to take that out because I've got echo statements in there, so it starts moaning about headers already being sent. So Jasmine, I'm doing a video at the minute. So basically the response will get sent back. So the idea is that this router is really going to be making all the decisions about the whatever codes are going to go back at a high level. The lower level these functions don't actually send anything back. It's going to be the router code that basically takes care of that. So we're going to have like this controller router that's basically going to take the request, try and route it into the function. It's obviously if there's any errors, sends a response back with an error, and then finally send a 200 with the response. This library here, you'll see I've got a queue, so I've just basically created a queue, add to queue. So I was going to put the queuing functions in here. Again, I need to change some of this to use our database library, our little database utility. API exception. I've got some log write logs. So we've got some logger functions. So this was basically for error logging. I was going to write to a log file so we can log stuff at an application level. Yeah, so basically I've just split it up into the kind of request response model that I've seen elsewhere, and hopefully it splits it up in an easier way. And the other thing is that ultimately this register function really it's not going to have to do any of the calls. It's going to be passed in this data, and the idea is I wanted to minimize the amount of work that this function did, because all we really want to be doing is we want to be verifying the from to data, and basically deciding whether we're going to queue it or not queue it, and if there's any errors, then obviously we're going to have to send that back up to the router. I've not finalized all of that sort of stuff yet, but basically that's the idea. The next step will be to actually do that.